Who does George Tucker end up with? Does Zoe ever have her child? And what happens between Levon and Lemon are all good questions for Hart of Dixie fans trying to reacquaint themselves with the series finale. Back before the CW was filling its time slots with fantasy and superhero shows, dramas and quieter series, often targeting a female audience, ruled the airwaves. Hart of Dixie landed right in the sweet spot of what the CW viewership was looking for, and the small-town comedy drama lasted for 4 seasons, earning a solid 81% on Rotten Tomatoes during that time. The series follows the OC's own Rachel Bilson as Zoe Hart, a NYC medical doctor who moves to the tiny town of Bluebell, Alabama in the hopes of improving her bedside manner so she can get a fellowship. A charming and funny show, Hart of Dixie had a rough pilot episode that turned some off with its cutesy sweetness, but the series quickly found its footing. The final season, Season 4, sees all the tumultuous relationships that have been winding throughout the season come to satisfying ends, making the finale a particularly romantic affair. What happened in the Hart of Dixie series finale? Zoe and Wade have their baby. Wade and Zoe sitting together and looking happy on Hart of Dixie. While not every storyline in Hart of Dixie ended up being resolved, the key ones, fortunately, were. The most important, the relationship between Zoe and Wade Kinsella, Wilson Bethel, did get its much-deserved attention. Zoe and Wade agree to get married and are betrothed. During the celebration, however, Zoe goes into labor. After 4 seasons of Hart of Dixie, Zoe's business is basically Bluebell's business, so the hospital is filled with everyone she's met since moving to the small Alabama town. She realizes then that this is the perfect place to be married, forget a long engagement. Impressive hairstyling given the circumstances, and Zoe and Wade say their vows in between contractions because Zoe is being wheeled into the delivery room on the way. Then, in a surprisingly fourth-wall-breaking moment, the characters begin singing together to welcome Zoe and Wade's baby boy to the world. They then turn to the camera and sing to the audience as scenes from the next 2 most important couples in Hart of Dixie are shown on screen. George and Annabeth make a go of it in Nashville. George makes sure to be there for the birth of Zoe's baby. George Tucker, Scott Porter, smiling in Hart of Dixie. A big question for 4 seasons of Hart of Dixie was, who is George going to end up with? George Tucker, Scott Porter, had several love triangles over the years, even having romantic entanglements with Zoe and Lemon Breland, Jamie King. Then there is Annabeth Nass, Caitlin Black, a former member of the Bells, along with Lemon. Lemon thinks that Annabeth and George would work very well together as a couple and so arranges a meet-cute for them. When that fails, she does it again, and it's that second occasion that convinces them to start dating. George spends the lead-up to the finale debating his move to Nashville and leaving Annabeth behind. He chooses to do so, but in the series finale, he returns to Bluebell in time to witness the vows exchanged between Zoe and Wade. He also makes a stop at Annabeth's and convinces her that she's the only one for him, and he wants her to come to Nashville, which she agrees to. Bluebell is a wonderful place, but for some people, they are better off getting out, and George shows some important growth by leaving. Other characters' fates in the Hart of Dixie ending. Levon and Lemon get married. Hart of Dixie 4. Several other characters get their happy endings in the Hart of Dixie series finale. Lemon and Levon Hayes, Cress Williams, tie the knot, a wedding that serves as the main part of the ending montage that's overlaid with the cast singing to the audience. After many seasons of affairs, breakups, and love triangles, it's very rewarding to see these two accept one another's love. Having the whole town come out for the wedding is the cherry on top and shows how integral these 2 characters are to the town and Bluebell to them. Across Bluebell, there are some other key moments in the finale, many featuring Zoe, of course. For one, she's officially made a partner in Dr. Breland's, Tim Matheson, business, and she makes sure to go to her father's grave and thank him for bringing her to Bluebell all those years ago. Lemon also asks Zoe to be a bridesmaid, which would have been unheard of a few seasons ago. Zoe ends the show as a favorite in the Breland family. Rose, McKaylee Miller, gets into Columbia, and Zoe gives her a pair of high heels, perfect for NYC. Another love triangle is hinted at in the series finale. Dr. Brick Breland brings in a new male associate to his practice, Wade hires a young, single female bartender, and George convinces one of his buddies in New York to relocate to Bluebell for a year to oversee his practice while he's in Nashville. Hart of Dixie was built on its web of love, setting up one that even the audience won't be privy to is a winking and smart way for the show to go out. Hart of Dixie was likely cancelled because of declining ratings. Rachel Bilson dispelled a rumor about the show. Curiously, Hart of Dixie never had an official announcement about its cancellation. The news was broken by the show's creator, Layla Gustine, in a series of tweets in March 2015 where she wrote, via X,